Hello, I'm Dave Parker, the director of the film The Hills Run Red and a major Motel Hell fan, and I have the pleasure of sitting here today with Kevin Connor, the director.
Hi,
How are
David.
you?
Hi, David. I'm well, thank you, and it's a real pleasure to be running this again. I haven't seen it in many years.
I know this Blu-ray and DVD release is a big thrill for the fans of Motel Hell. Which can you start out talking about how you came to direct this project?
I'd come to America in 1980 to have a go at Hollywood, as it were, having done quite a few films in England, and it took a couple of months, but I managed to get my tapes and stuff to an agent in Beverly Hills, and anyway, nothing happened, but I went back a couple of weeks after I'd first met him and collect my videotape in those days, and as I went in the office to collect my tape, he came out of his office with a coffee and to replenish it and so on, and said, "Oh, how's it going?" And I said, "Oh, it's going fine, but nothing really is happening." He said, "Well, come in here, I'm going to get you a job." He called up a couple of people, and which led me to UA and the two boys who produced this film, and they liked the first film I did, the horror film From Beyond the Grave, and that was it. Off we went. But if I hadn't gone in that office at that moment, I would never have met that agent again. And but it's just a coincidence. That's luck. That's one's career in this business.
And the movie gods.
Yes.
Smiling down. So you'd done From Beyond the Grave as your first film. Was How did that come about as far as getting into the genre in that sense? Was that just another coincidence?
Another coincidence. Had been an editor. I had been editing quite good big movies in England, thanks to Richard Attenborough, who gave me my break. And but editing wasn't enough. I wanted to do more, and I optioned 12 short stories by Chetwynd Hayes, and wrote screenplays, half-hour screenplays for television, horror genre again, because again one thinks it's the easiest thing to get going or start your career, and but got nowhere with that. But somehow they landed on Milton Subotsky, his desk in Shepperton Studios. He was Amicus Films head, and he said, "I'm going to take 4 of these, make them into a compilation movie, and you can direct them." And I said, "But I've never directed before." He said, "Editors make good directors, so you're on." So I said, "Okay, fine." He said, "Don't worry, I'll surround you with the best technicians available and best actors." And that's what he did. He gave me my break.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, when you first got the script in this project, how different was it?
Well, all I can recall from those 34 years ago was the boys gave me the script to read, and I took it back to the condo I was staying in, and the opening was nighttime long shot Motel Hell with the O flashing, cut interior, a motel bedroom, a fat woman is in bed with a dildo and a pig. And I thought, I've come all this way to Hollywood, and this is all I can rustle up is that. So I, anyway, decided to carry on reading, and there was some great elements in it, and I could see the movie in there, but they had this sort of juvenile stuff in it, and I suggested to the boys that we lose all that and just make it a dark comedy, and we play tongue-in-cheek, but play it straight, and no. You don't have to be stuff like dildos and whatever. That's for, please.
So was a lot of the sort of satire and humor already in the script, and it was just a matter of refining it with them?
It was a matter of, yes, taking out all the, as I say, this juvenile stuff, and just bringing forward some of those great one-liners that they'd got in there, and just approaching it from a different angle. So we never saw any slasher stuff and throats being cut. You think you did, but you actually, when you watch the movie, you didn't. You never saw any blood and guts and stuff. It was all it was all subliminal, if you like. But no, there are a lot of elements are obviously in the script, but it was just a question of refining it and bringing out the best.
Now, had you been a fan of the horror genre? I mean, you had read the stories, for From Beyond the Grave and adapted those and everything. Had you been a fan before, or was this more of like it's easier to get something going in the genre at that time?
It was really, to be honest, yes, it was easier to get that genre going. I can't say I ever saw any Hammer films prior, or any Amicus films. I mean, knew of them, of course, but I can't say I went out of my way to study them or watch them or pay to go and see them. But it just seemed a way in was through this genre, because it's always difficult breaking into the business. And well, especially as I didn't plan to be a director, I just wanted to be a cameraman and producer type, but fate took me in this direction, and it worked. And they're fun to do, but you really can't take them too seriously.
But you did, funny enough, though, speaking of Hammer, you have worked with the two giants of Hammer films in other films.
Indeed, Christopher and Peter Cushing, the absolute delight, and they approach. I mean, Peter Cushing especially taught me an awful lot of the way to approach these kind of this genre, and to don't mock it, play it straight, play it in all seriousness, and believe in it as you do it. It was a great lesson for my first movie, and he was such a sweet man and a real professional. Taught me a lot.
Now back to this film. This was made in 1980. It was literally it was on the cusp of what was going to become the slasher craze in the early 80s, with Friday the 13th sort of being the jumping off point of that. But it was right on the line, so as you said, it's not a slasher film, but ironically, it's sort of viewed within that canon of films as one. Was that something that the Jaffe brothers were aware of at the time, or it was? I think they had written the script several years earlier, correct?
Yes, I think they'd had problems getting it going, or because again they were young, and I think obviously it was a great help that their father was an executive at UA. But even then, it's still tough to get stuff going, even with that sort of power behind you. But I don't know if one's ever aware of a tail off of a genre or whatever. You steam into it and hope that it's going to be a successful movie. And but you're right, it wasn't. People think this was a slasher type film, but it really wasn't. You never saw anything. I mean, if you look at it carefully, it's all subliminal. It's all the intent. And afterwards, you think you saw stuff, but no, you didn't. So I don't enjoy that stuff myself. So I tend to try and find another way of doing things.
I think because there's in some ways it's a parodying the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, especially with the pig head. When Farmer Vincent wears the pig head and the chainsaw and the smokehouse and the sort of cannibalism aspects of it, which is probably why it's considered that. Especially that one image, I think, is probably what stands in people's minds. I think the cover of Fangoria magazine probably has more to do to have people think that it's a slasher movie more than it is.
Right. No, it was my intention was not to do a slasher movie, because I don't think the term had really been invented, as it were, in the early 80s. It was later on that in that decade that evolved, unfortunately, from what the hell.
Now these were all this was a set that had been built, but these are all actual real pigs. And
yeah, this actually it's an outhouse to the motel that we shot in, or the old ranch.
Okay.
It's just kind of around the back there.
Sure.
And no, we just adapted it and built the set inside there. So everything was shot
at Sable Ranch.
Yes, at Sable Ranch. We went into Moore Park, I think, to do some other stuff. But otherwise, it's all in the grounds around here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Rory Calhoun a little bit. Had you been aware of him before casting him, and how did you come about to cast Rory?
Yeah. Well, I knew about Rory Calhoun, and of course he had a reputation of being quite a hellraiser and quite a character. And I think he'd been in jail a couple of times for DUI or whatever. But we were after Harry Dean Stanton, I think, earlier on, but he passed. He didn't really want to know, and then Rory's name came up, and of course he's absolutely perfect. The Mr. and Mrs. America, as it were, the picture of him with his standing in front of that famous
American
painting.
Gothic painting.
American Gothic, yes, absolutely, could have been him, and I think he enjoyed the script and the concept that we put to him, what it was going to be like, and there wasn't going to be any slasher kind of stuff, and he just joined in, and he pulled it off beautifully.
Were there any concerns with as far as casting and with the actors, as far as reactions to the script, or by that time when they got the script, the changes had been made?
Oh, the changes had been made, yes. And I think even the changes had been made when we went to Harry Dean Stanton. But that was... yeah, they got it. Everybody who we presented it to, they got the concept and the approach.
And this is Paul Link.
Dear Paul Link, yes, he was wonderful.
And again, this dysfunctional family unit here of Farmer Vincent, Ida, and Paul's character.
And they all had their bits. I mean, I think it was his idea to come in chewing the stick thing there.
Uh-huh.
He put that in because, but at the moment, we don't know quite what kind of goes on here. So it's just little hints and things. So yeah.
Or that this is particularly like horror movie scary moment right here. The shot is really nice. Now Nancy Parsons, who is identified with two major roles, even though she's a major theater actress, was this film and Porky's.
Porky's, yes.
Yeah. Did she come in just as an audition, or was she an offer?
She was probably an offer because she's just so perfect. You don't have to audition her. She was a very good, accomplished stage actress as well. So and she loved it. She loved the concept, the idea again, and wholeheartedly went into it. No, I'm sure that we didn't interview lots of people for it. It was just she was the part.
And the girl is Nina Axelrod.
I don't believe it.
Very pretty, lovely Nina.
I want to see.
How did she come to the film?
She was engaged, I think, or might have. She was certainly with Robert, one of the writers and producers of the film, and she was absolutely the perfect image, the innocence that we wanted, and accomplished actress. So why not? That's how she did a great job.
And she since has gone into casting.
I think the casting, yes. Yeah, I haven't seen either Robert or Nina in many years, but it was a very good. We had a good relationship. Never any rows, never any problems on the set. All solved very quickly if they were.
Did you have a lot of preparation time on this? Was there a lot of pre-production time?
I think we had. Preparation time, I think we had the reasonable amount. Usually you try and get whatever the shooting time is, that's the prep time. I guess it was like 5 week shoot, to be honest, I can't remember. So I probably had 5 weeks prep minimum, which is ample because it was all contained, very, very contained set.
Was it just by good fortune that you found Sable and it just had everything that you need, or was it scouting a lot of of the Hollywood ranches to see?
No, I think this was one of the first. Again, I think the boys had this place in mind, or the production designer, came up with the place and said, "This is it. This is where we should go. Everything is here," and everything was there. All this is in the grounds, in the surrounding countryside. We didn't have to travel anywhere. The trucks were all in one place and stayed there for the 5 weeks. Basically.
Except for the gravestones, you added those.
Oh, yes, yes, we brought those in. But it's all very, very close. It was a well planned out production.
For those watching, I would guess that most fans know that Sable Ranch is a famous ranch and has been featured not in just Motel Hell, but films like Pumpkinhead 2, classics like Pumpkinhead 2, and The Devil's Rejects, Rob Zombie's film. So it's definitely got a horror history too. I think you set it off on its horror history routes with this film,
maybe,
and it's been good karma ever since.
Yes. It's just off the 14 Newhall. Yeah, perfect, lovely location. We brought the pigs in. That was the. They came. We made the pen, obviously, and stuff, but. This is a fun sequence. I love poking fun at authority, government. See, there's the place that was there. It was already there. So,
Well, this is what we call a little spot check, Vincent.
the smokehouse.
Yeah.
Oh, hell, no inconvenience at all. It's always my pleasure to see you, Bob. Yourself at home?
He definitely had
Nice.
a sort of speech, a dialect that was almost a throwback to, it seemed like, old...
Yes, Americana.
Yeah.
Yes. It's the first time we hear the noises of the something going on.
But that's the thing. The nice thing about this, and is the balance between the sort of the eerie and creepy with the satire.
Right.
With it.
Yes, something's going on, and you probably guess, but you're not quite sure how we get there. I love government people and officious people like this getting into trouble, poking their noses in where they shouldn't be.
I think that the thing that was a good jump scare.
Yes.
But I mean, that's the thing is like, he's covered in blood on his apron and everything else, and it's pretty.
Yes. Yes, a little hints. Acts of blood all over it.
I think that's the thing. I think with the title and everything. I certainly remember when I saw it that in some ways you're almost anticipating a different kind of movie. And to me, what I like about it is you're never really sure where this movie is going.
Where it's going to come from? Yeah. Where? Yes. Yeah. When I first came to America, I remember this preacher sitting in a chair with a sheepskin, Dr. Scott, I think his name was. And I'd never seen American television like it. It was just unbelievable, these preachers and stuff. And he had this blackboard with stuff over it. So that's what I based this character on, on the television. And also they were, later on you'll see they're doing self-defense exercises or whatever. Again, that was on television when I first came in the 80s, and I thought, my goodness, this is just extraordinary.
Sort of strange public access television.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
And Ida's having a light snack.
Yeah. Right. And of course, the guy on the television is the swinger that comes to the place later on.
Oh, he is?
I don't know if anybody recognised him.
No.
Yeah, that's the same guy.
Wow.
The Bible thumper is the
is the swinger as well.
Yeah.
Think about it. You've been blessed, child. Oh, the ways of the Lord are mysterious. The very fact that
I've also been asked whether there's any relationship between the Rory and Nancy Parsons as brother and sister, and he's sort of incestuous. No, I don't. I mean, it's funny how people come up with concept or ideas of what's behind something, but they just they never married. They just lived together, and
Just
never crossed my mind.
The eccentric brother and sister.
Yes, certainly. Yes.
Well, that's okay, because then you have the relationship between Farmer Vincent and the girl that's is quite odd.
It's kind of creepy. Yes. Anyway, yes, yeah.
And more so from her side, because she's the one who pursues him.
Yes.
You know.
Suddenly she's there's the O.
See, that's the other thing too. When you watch it, when I saw this younger and everything, a lot of some of the satire and stuff probably like went over my head. I think I was too young to really get it. So to me, the movie felt scarier. Because you weren't getting the jokes because you didn't know
understand
some of those things. So
yes,
But I remember this played really, really creepy.
Well, it's the first time we see what's behind that fence.
What did you think when you were reading when the first time that you came to the garden?
Well, I don't know. I think we created with the production designer. I mean, obviously it's spelt out later in the script what exactly is in there, but it had to be well hidden, and nobody could get in there. And
but when you were reading it in the script, what was your reaction to this whole concept of the garden?
Yes. I mean, that's, I think, probably more than anything attracted me to the whole piece. There's something when you read a script, it's got to be something in there that you can get hold of and develop and enjoy doing, enjoy making, even if it's just a couple of scenes. And I think this was obviously. We go back and forth in. I think pulling the guys up with the tractor hoe and stuff. I love that kind of dark stuff. And it's funny as well. So it was fun to create. A very good production designer we had.
No, yeah, I just remember being so creeped out by this. Yeah. And this definitely is the first real inkling that yeah, it really gets you. Now the garden itself was how many? Because there are a lot of bagged heads there, but how many at one time did you have?
I think we had like 8. Ended up with 8 or maybe 10, because I'm trying to think how many they all come down
at the end.
At the end, I can't remember how many there were, but it must be 8 or 10. Yeah, the final analysis. Doing. Yes, this is not a very good. Yeah. Here comes the group.
Oh yeah, yep.
The gang.
Who are these people?
Yes.
It's Ivan and the Terribles.
Ivan and the Terribles, yes. Pity they didn't keep going. They would have done well in Russia.
And was this a real band?
No. We all created. They're all different actors and created the whole
came up with Ivan and the
Came with
Terribles.
yes, yeah. There's John Ratzenberger from Cheers, who I done several pictures with in England.
Now, how did that come about?
Well, John was in what did we do? The Warlords of Atlantis, and he was on his way, I think, to the airport in London. He was to go back to America, and literally sort of stopped off for at Pinewood Studios for a chat. And as soon as he walked in the door, I knew that's the guy I wanted, and so he stayed, and we did another Arabian adventure with him. Then we met up again in Hollywood, and I did a mini series with him and stuff, and this Motel Hell, and
Quite a stunt.
yes, there we go. That's the one that. Yes, I think we'd done the stunt with the motorbike crashing before, and unfortunately that went slightly awry. With the motorbike, it tipped, I think, and ended up in the lake nearby, which wasn't meant to. It was the truck was the one that was meant to go upside down.
Right.
But anyway, that was but a very safe production. Nobody got hurt, and no animals were hurt, except the pigs that appeared, of course.
So going back to John Ratzenberg, so for this you already had him in mind. It's like, hey, you're over here, I'm over here. Just
Yes,
he's
absolutely.
sort of like
Yes,
your
we-
good luck charm in those
A
days.
very good, absolute good luck charm, and I just loved him. He was so such a character, and he's very accomplished, and gave me all sorts of things to play with and ideas. No, very very smart guy, and perfect for this, and he loved it too. Jumped in. Yeah, we're very good friends, and still are.
I'm just beginning to realize how important they are to me.
The bear traps? How's that, Vincent?
No. I mean the traps. Shooting out the tires. Chains stretched across the highway.
See, play good. It's crazy dialogue, but they just play it so straight,
Right.
and
Oh, sure.
she's so good.
How come they're so important to you?
Well, because they give me a chance to be creative.
Oh,
It's all shot at night, all around the.
artistic.
I'm not so sure that we were absolutely didn't move the car at all, the
Was
truck
it a
at all.
poor man's process?
Poor
for a lot
man's
of the
process,
job?
yeah, I think
I
so.
almost forgot.
Yeah.
I have a surprise for you.
Goody, I love surprises.
It's really
She's so-
interesting.
Yes.
Their performances are really interesting. They're almost still playing it like they were kids.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Slightly, they never grew
Yeah.
up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. This, as they are, stuck in there. This truck, the Chevrolet truck, we were driving back from the location, scouting, and it was for sale in a used car lot as we drove past. I said, that's the truck he's got to drive. Because it was Americana, and the drop back and it'd be perfect. I said, and what we're going to do, we're going to paint it bright red, and we also painted the tractor bright yellow,
Okay.
and the boys thought that was a good idea, and yeah, that worked nicely.
I've always been curious about the music that's playing over the speakers for the garden. It's,
Yes.
it's very, it was in the other scene. It's very bizarre. Where did that, what was the thinking behind that?
I can't remember whether it was in the script or something. It was obviously we had the idea because she's reacting to it, but it's to do with making plants grow
Okay.
and soothing people, and like they do with the Kobe beef.
Okay.
That was the sort of idea behind it. That plants and things will the meat will be happy,
Responding
if
to
it's
sound,
responding to
music,
to
okay.
sound. That was the idea behind it.
Speak out.
Speak up.
The vocal cords have been slit. You gotta hiss real clearly to expect anyone to understand you.
But these guys are in trenches underneath, and they're all open. And when everybody was in there, Ratzenberger would get a stick and pretend that he was a snake or a spider or something and freak out the girls. And
Did you have anyone jump out?
yeah, I said no. I think one of the ladies did. One of the actresses did. This is one of my favourite sequences because visually you can have so much fun with that thing in the foreground. That
The auger?
digger, yeah.
Yeah.
Guess who?
Oh, the surprise.
I give up.
Bob.
Good to see you. When'd you drop in?
The sound from the throats comes from. We found a guy with a tracheotomy. Had a hole in his, neck voice pipe, and he had a had a sort of little microphone, and used to speak by breathing through the hole, making these noises. And he thoroughly enjoyed creating different noises for this, and it really is very effective.
Very,
Yeah.
very creepy. But how does one go to find someone with a tracheotomy?
I don't know. Actually, the boys found him. Or Robert, one of the boys found him, or maybe a sound guy. I can't remember. But we went to his house and recorded in the guy's house.
That's good producing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this. Digging new holes. Rats.
What was the ratio? It was as far as like night shooting as opposed to day shooting, if you can remember.
We did quite a lot of night shooting, yes, and as soon as the old sun comes up, that's it. That's the end of the day. And I think even one morning driving back, I had an accident. I on the off ramp at sunset. I went straight into the. I just fell asleep and went into the barrier.
Oh.
But fortunately, I wasn't hurt. But it woke me up. But it's dangerous, night shooting, and really.
Do you remember what time of year you were shooting in?
April,
Okay.
April, May.
So the
Yeah.
nights are still a little longer than if
So-
you were in the dead middle of summer,
Yes,
at least.
yeah. But I think that there was obviously more day shooting than night shooting. Probably had a week of nights. Yeah.
Maybe so. But you know as well as I do, it takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent fritters.
There you go.
She's
The
up
tagline. The tagline
Yeah,
of the film.
yeah.
Or what
They
the most
were-
famous one.
Meat's meat and man's got to eat, is it?
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of this is funny. But like I said, as a kid, all this was just really kind of disturbing because you really can
But
put
you
yourself
could-
in that place. It's like, oh my
That's
God,
right.
that would be
It could
so
happen
terrible.
One dark and stormy night, it could be.
Yeah.
See, the knife goes in, and you never actually.
No.
And you never see blood, you never see anything spurting out, and you cut to a nice little burp,
Yeah.
which would go with you just cut an opposite image.
It's true. It just ain't possible to go back to regular smoked meats after you tried Vincent's. You can't beat the flavor.
No wonder you're famous. How come I never
Get
heard
Rory in his classic cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Distributed within a 100-mile radius. That way I can keep the quality high and the cost reasonable.
They're having a picnic in the
In
cemetery.
the cemetery, yes. Yeah.
We couldn't afford night flies. So Granny used to smoke everything. Chickens, rabbits, squirrels, eels, even frogs. If it didn't move fast enough, Granny smoked it. Well, we had this old dog.
He does come
He
off,
used to bother Granny, barking to her
by
now.
being so nice, he does come off
One day
more
she asked me
sinister.
to shush it for her.
Yes.
I
But
shushed her.
the jacket he's wearing, you can the material, the cloth, it's so spot on. They were really good. And what she's dressed in,
Yeah.
goodness knows where she got that from.
And her hair is really well
perfect.
done.
Yeah, yeah.
She was so grateful she
Yeah.
taught Vincent all her smoking secrets.
Knew she was eating a dog?
Well, Granny never put any distinctions on any of God's creatures. She always used to say, meat's meat and man's gotta eat. She sure loved that old doggy.
Did you guys have a rehearsal time beforehand? Did you guys rehearse, or was it just rehearsing on the day before you would shoot the scene?
Do you know, I cannot remember. I don't think we did.
Wanna know
I don't recall it,
meat tastes so good? What?
but I guess we must have done. At least had a table reading or something. You know.
Because he mixes
But,
the pork with
Charming.
Nice brother-sister relationship.
Yes.
Like the pork with secret spices. And Ida knows how important that recipe is to me.
Here, let's take a walk.
When you when the Jaffe brothers were first talking to you about the script and everything, did they talk to you about, you know, sort of there's this sort of undercurrent in it of lack of food and, you know, people going hungry and, you know, those type of problems that, you know, actually, you know, in a lot of ways we're facing now, in a way, or is it just
No, somebody asked me that, and they were quite serious, that there was a intention hinting at the lack of food, and that maybe one day one would be eating, being cannibals, and this was a way of solving the world's problems. But no, we never had that in mind. We never discussed that. But it's amazing how many of these sort of questions or suggestions come up over the years that this would solve the world food shortage problem or cheaper food or something. But no, it was never anything political or anything like that at all. It's that lovely yellow. I love that yellow. Beautifully clean and. Yeah, there's also a suggestion that I think Reagan was president at the time, and that this was slightly anti-Reaganism, but I never even occurred to us and where these ideas come from, or thoughts, or how people, you know, read stuff into it. That,
Well, that's not so much to complain about. They're good animals. Not like taking care of chickens or hogs.
It's just such a bizarre way to feed them too.
Yes, yeah,
It makes sense though.
Totally, it's yeah.
Hey, Vincent, I think this one is just about ready.
Almost. Not quite. Tomorrow he'll be ready to become famous.
Famous.
You think in the years to come, people will appreciate us for what we're doing here?
See, this is the, you know,
You do
Yeah.
understand.
Of course I do,
you know.
I'm doing all this just for the fun. Somebody's got to take a little responsibility for the planet.
See, it's a very, you know, it's
Yeah.
one of the first environmentalist horror
Yes,
films,
I-
you know.
I guess
Yeah,
so. I guess
that's-
it could. Someone's got to take care of the planet. Bit late now.
All we need is a couple Idas and Vincent's around. It's never too late.
Yeah.
This is your makeshift drive-in at
Makeshift
Sable?
on the hillside nearby. Yes. Yeah.
Hold on a sec.
This is pretty funny.
Yeah.
You are violating the law. You have exactly 2 minutes to clear out. Now move out, please. Come on, move that board there. Let's move it. Let's go. Move it now.
Naked girl.
Yeah. Then it
Yes. Yeah.
goes total
Yes.
total comedy.
Yeah.
So now they have a private screening.
The private screening, yes, yeah. Yeah, it all worked well.
What was all that about?
You'll see. There you go. Now look right down there.
All right.
And this is a famous,
Famous, yes.
movie. It conquered the world.
Was it? Yeah.
No. The monster that challenged the world.
The Challenger, yes.
Yes.
The
Sorry
UA,
about that.
the
Monster
UA
that-
film, I think, that
Not-
we were allowed to use.
But how are you going to see?
There are two lovely girls.
$1,500 in 2 days.
Yeah, talk about them. How they came to be a part of this film, and who they were.
Well, I'm sure we certainly interviewed quite a few, but they were very good actresses as well, apart from being models and
I think he had
very attractive and curvaceous, and but they were really good. I guess we saw half a dozen or dozen, and picked the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
It fitted the
But they were both Playboy Playmates.
Playboys. Yes, yeah.
Centerfolds.
Yes, yeah. And I think I've got. They both signed their centerfold for me. She gave me the copies and signed it. Got it somewhere in a box,
Wow.
I guess.
Now it's worth a lot of money.
I never think of that kind of stuff. I really don't. I mean, I'll dig it out and.
Forget it, you do it.
You chicken shit.
I expect they're grannies by now. 34 years. This was all on the road to Sable Ranch.
Yeah, the old cow cutout scenario.
Yes, the old trick.
But again, pretty effective and scary because you weren't expecting, you know, and wearing the mask and everything is like, ah.
Good score.
Very good score.
Yeah. And damsel in distress.
Did you, speaking of the score, did you talk to, besides spotting it and everything, did you give him a direction of the type of, type of thing you
yes.
wanted? Because he came out with a really nice melody. The main theme is a really nice
piano,
melody.
really, yes. No, that he came up with all that stuff. But, we talked about it and the simplicity of it. But he responded, he did a great score. But we never worked together again. I don't know why. It's one of those things. It's strange. He thinks that's an invitation.
Which definitely shows, that Bruce himself has a dark side.
Yes,
to him.
as a cop as well.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
You didn't.
United Artists. Yeah.
Dixie, this is Bruce. Are you okay?
Yeah, but somebody's in trouble.
1033. This is Sheriff Smith.
I don't quite know how UA executives regarded us, because they did very good films, very intelligent movies. So this was really the other end of the scale, I think, as far as they were concerned.
Oh, yeah. Oops.
I've lost my
Oh.
contact. There you go.
Now, was this car chase mostly poor man's process too, with the exception of
no,
the?
I think
or were they?
we were on the road there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did this. I just like this as a sort of bit of Hitchcock from Psycho, when when he dumps the car into the
Into the pond.
into the lake, into the pond. Yeah. I just love that image when it finally goes under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now talk about this. This reservoir was part of Sable Ranch.
It's part of Sable Ranch, yes.
And it was man-made?
I guess it was a watering hole for cattle, I guess.
Okay.
Not being...
Guess you can't hear us. Look, I saw something.
Where?
Up around that bend.
Nuts!
Did
Yeah.
with the exception of Robert and Steven being producers on the set, did any executives come down to the set and check it out and see what you're doing?
I was going to say, we never saw anybody at all. They totally left alone. Nobody came and looked over our shoulders and said, "Oh, you're over budget" or anything like that. Totally left alone to do it. I think they just regarded it as a, one of the films that they had to make, and it was a nice budget there, healthy budget.
Budget was around.
I think it was around the 3, somewhere around there.
Nice work.
That must be
But
a
the-
different contrast of not having,
Yeah.
too much. Did they look at dailies or anything
Dailies.
like that, or
Yeah, were you just totally left alone until the movie was? Yes, and
Completed.
the cut, my cut or our cut, was never altered after I delivered my cut. We all worked together very well on every aspect, and it was really, it's the way it should be. It's very classically the way it's shot, the setups and
Sure.
stuff. There's nothing. So he's the gospel thumper,
He's the preacher.
Bible thumper preacher. Yes.
And that's Elaine Joyce, who's
Elaine Joyce.
done a lot of television
Yes.
and movies.
She was married to Bobby, the dancer who did that famous dance in the MGM musical. Forgive me, I can't remember his surname, but she was lovely.
He
Yeah.
makes the best meat in the whole world. I'd like to get your
These are quite characters.
Yes,
This is
yeah.
where even
Guy.
as a kid, you start realizing, oh, this movie's very different.
Yeah,
Because you didn't
yeah.
see these type of characters really,
No,
especially
no.
not in horror films.
No.
retire a little earlier tonight. I can dig it. Early to bed, early to rise. You get my meaning?
Was any of this stuff
Well,
in the original draft cruder, or did what were the area? Was this one of the areas that you had them sort of pull back a little bit?
I probably, we probably did. 34 years ago, I can't remember because the original script I probably only read a couple of times before we then worked on the
Right.
new draft. But I mean, it wasn't so much the sexual innuendos, but the sort of crass stuff that. But yeah, maybe the film would have made more money had gone that direction. I don't know.
When you say
But,
crass, you mean that
well,
the
just-
script was
just-
more violent, or was it more crude?
Crude references and stuff, and
Okay.
sexual references. And
I
things
love
that-
this reaction. I can't quite tell, is she like enamored or
Yes,
repulsed by her,
yes,
or
yeah.
both? Yeah.
Yeah.
Truckers and Smokies go on wild goose chases.
I have to report it to the Federal Communications Commission.
Just
Guess I'll be heading home now.
a little smile he
If you
gives
lose
us.
those kids again, you just give me a call. Will do.
Good night, Bruce.
Yeah.
Good time. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, sure. Hey, anytime you want a little excitement, you know where to find it.
I mean, you basically attacked her.
Yeah. These days he'd be hauled up in court.
Yeah.
Look, now that Smokey's gone, do you mind filling us in on the scene?
must be some.
Vincent, look. Here we are.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything wrong? Oh, we just didn't expect to make this issue. Ain't this great, Vincent?
Sure is.
Did this guy just come in and audition, or?
I think maybe, again, it's a long time, but they're well-known, actors and
10 minutes.
comedians, and
That'd be fine.
And why don't you invite your daughter?
I mean, we probably did see others, but it doesn't take you long to really
This way, folks.
He's
nail the characters. And
quite a character.
yeah.
Stretching exercises.
Dick Curtis.
Dick Curtis, yes, yeah. He, handsome guy, old Rory. That's right. There's yes, it's Wolfman,
Yeah.
and he's in the chair that Dr. Scott.
Oh, okay.
That's yeah. And this is in one of the rooms in the ranch.
So how does one go about directing a scene like this?
Well, you. She's such a. But you work out
Right.
what can you break? What,
I mean, you just go, just go.
yeah. Well, you work out. You have to work out.
Right.
You're going to hit the lamp. Then you're going to hit the phone. You're going to and she's a dancer, so she's a choreographer, and well, we didn't have a choreographer, but she, between us, we worked out the best way to go and what she could do.
And then just some
And yeah, so the cameraman knows where.
and art
it's
department
gonna-
people to do some of the rigging, or
The rigging and the breakaways and the different takes and stuff.
And did they just use like monofilament and like pull the stuff, or
I-
was she that proficient?
No,
with the
she
whip?
was pretty proficient with it. No, she no, I don't think we had any of that at all. So. There was a scene, I think, where Wolfman Jack was in a church, which was the opening of the movie,
We didn't even get a chance
and
to
it
warm up,
was a wedding. He was officiating a wedding, but it never ended up in the movie.
You look good enough to eat.
See, a lot of some ad-lib lines from Dick there, and
Uh-huh.
Pretty good. What is this, dog style?
No, man. Paul.
Hogs.
Would you put your hands behind your back, please?
See, they don't approve of this kind of behaviour, yet they'll make.
No, but they're- Just how weird and
That doesn't smell like laughing gas.
well, it smells like laughing gas, which
With this stuff, you smell it, and we do the laughing.
Give to be happy.
Yeah, the old pipe and the
Uh-huh.
real traditional. Oh, America.
Today's my day for planning alfalfa.
now during this film did they have you did you take a look at any of the other current horror films of the time and just sort of see
can't
what was going on?
Not really. Even when I try not to do that. We could on other projects
Mm-hmm.
because you want it to be your take. And if you look at other films, and you want to be careful you don't copy them. I know one does tend to copy the best and
See you later, honey.
recreate it, but you don't want to be too influenced. And so it's your vision, and you're not thinking of. I can't think of the horror big horror films that were out at that time.
I think The Shining and
It was
Halloween.
Shining,
and
yes,
you know,
Halloween. I never, to this day, I've not seen Halloween. I saw The Shining.
Alien was
But,
really popular. right
Alien,
around then.
yes, that was terrific. But that was kind of big budget type of things, and this is what it was. So it didn't relate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's you look for where can you get scary things and make people jump out of their seats, and but the audience, they're so far ahead of you today that it's difficult to make that happen. I mean, the best one was in David Lean's Oliver Twist, when the Magwitch, the convict, jumps out from behind the tombstone. The whole audience just leapt. But it's very difficult now because everybody, it's all been done. Very difficult to make that happen.
How invaluable was Milton Sabaski right as far as being an editor, as far as horror and generating scares and comedy, which this has a lot of too, are both very similar on all that timing.
Yes, he was very good. He wrote the story in between on the first horror film I did, the From Beyond the Grave.
But was he right as far
yes,
as being an editor, being strength in these areas?
Yes, because first of all you know what not to do. I learnt more from bad directors than I did from good directors, because you see what you shouldn't do, what you need if his scene is slow and you want to speed it up, and you've got no cover or you've got at least a couple of cutaways or something. You've had it. You're dead in the water. Today you can help it a bit, but in those days, yes. But you just know what to cover and how to move a scene along and not get stuck with it. Because it's one thing shooting a scene, but when you get it in the cutting room and you play it against the scene prior or the scene afterwards, and it doesn't gel or something's wrong, you're stuck with it. But if you've got just a couple of cutaways or something, you can speed it up or take out lines that you don't like anymore or don't work, that seem to work at the time. Editing is the essence of film. So, this was freezing cold.
Is that why Ida's wearing a bathing suit from a long lost era?
Yes,
to stay warm? Because
Oh, she's very modest.
Very.
Modest, yes. I love this when she turns.
yeah.
You see her face and.
Little bits here, there, yeah.
She's careful. Out comes the pin.
What was Nancy Parsons like, as far as acting goes? Was she having fun, or would she take it very, very seriously?
Oh, she was serious. Yes, she was a serious actress, and but had fun with the part and really thought about it and added lots of little things.
Did she? Did they bring? Did they stick mainly to script, or did they bring a lot of sort of improv and ideas too?
Yeah, I love improv actors. I'd use them every time if I always had the choice. But they added a lot of their own ad-lib lines here and there, and some we lost, some we kept. I mean, I can't. One would have to have the script in front of you now to to compare it. Yeah, it was all shot off the edge. We didn't have a raft or anything. It was all shot off the edge of the pond there.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah.
And then some in the
we
water?
we had one underwater
housing?
just for the day, yeah.
I hope you forgive me.
Yes.
Then I feel better. Well, I
What are some of the other filmmakers that you admire that sort of like helped you and sort of taught you either by watching their films or working?
Well, I've always been a great fan of John Ford and Huston and of course Spielberg and
Horrible feeling it is to be pulled down under
the greats. But you know, you don't study them per se. You see their movies and you absorb stuff. It's rather. I know a lot of film schools study the cuts and all that kind of stuff, but it really, when you're on the set and it becomes a whole different thing once you've got the actors and one thing reading the script and you know what you want to do and bring to the scene, but when you get the actors and the ambience and it's quiet and the camera rolls, it becomes a whole different things happen that you didn't plan on, and of course you use them, and it's
Let's not talk about film theory right now. Sorry, folks.
She was good. She was. See how proper he is. Look,
Yeah. As twisted as they are, they definitely have their sort of hardcore family values. So
Yes,
in that
absolutely,
sense,
yeah.
in that sense,
Yeah.
they do reflect some of the Reagan era in some ways.
But I mean, Nina's so good here, and you don't know where is she coming from. You know.
It's just not a relationship that you're used to seeing, especially not in a horror film.
Yeah, she's gone from a biker to
an old farmer.
To old farmer. Yeah.
To a psychotic.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
now,
yeah, well, this is-
here is
yes.
Wolfman Jack.
There he is. Yes.
Now, how did he come to be in the film? He had done American Graffiti before and
That's
a lot
right.
of television stuff, but
That's right. But of course, I had no idea who Wolfman Jack was until the boys explained. Then I recognised the voice because I had heard it on the radio and how popular and famous this is. What's that? Can't remember the name.
the area.
Yes, it's shot there a lot of times. Yeah, we had a scene inside the church, but it got lost. It got.
But anyway, it was.
Yeah.
Whose idea was?
I think it was the boy's idea, and because it's a good name to attract who would enjoy this kind of movie, who would go and see this kind of movie. So, no, he had a great following, didn't he?
Yeah.
In the days.
What was he like?
Yeah, absolutely quite normal, charming, and asked me exactly what I wanted from him, and but he was a natural, you know, just a natural. Yeah. And he got it. He understood what the part was and how to play it. Moore Park. That's right.
Okay.
Moore Park.
This is a funny bit.
I'm sure that was ad-libbed on the end. Yeah. Now chickens.
Chickens.
Yeah.
He's always driving really fast.
Yes, it's showing off. Yes. Yeah.
I like the fact that she's reading the same magazine. She was looking at the same exact centerfold of the same magazine.
Yeah. Yes. I remember the scene that Nina wasn't too keen on doing it. She was very, very nervous, quite rightly so. But
The bathtub scene?
yes, yeah.
What are you doing?
Now, how come? Because she had. She had
Well,
done
she had to stand up.
Oh, okay.
Full
Gotcha.
full length, and it took a little bit of time to get it. But she was a real trooper and
We're getting married.
did it. Take one and.
Believe it. You mean he's not forcing you?
I love it.
Oh, you're sick. What about us? I'm madly in love with you.
You've only been on one date at a drive-in.
yes, I know,
It's a
it's
very strange family.
this scene, yeah, she was very worried about that. It's the standing up.
Right.
But we promised her there wouldn't be.
The law won't allow it. He's insane.
Is not.
Oh. Didn't he tell you? He's got syphilis of the brain. That's right. Oh, he's not normal at all. And he's dumb. Yeah, and his pecker don't work either. Boy, are you gonna be disappointed.
Was there stuff in the script, which is obviously a very American script in a lot of ways, that
Yeah.
sort of where you had to have Robert Stevens? What's this about? Can
No,
you clear this up for me at all?
I'd seen enough American films to get the.
Oh, hi, Vince. Pretty good joke, huh? Huh? Oh, come on, Vince. You better put that down. You know, accidents do happen.
There weren't a lady present, you might not be alive right now.
Well, don't be such a... Well, I'm sorry to see that you're taking this so hard, Vincent.
So his little
Yeah,
little hints and
yeah.
stuff in there. Is it?
I'll regret that, Vincent. Don't forget, I'm the law around here. Oh, no, Vince. Oh, no.
Again, it's a good thing you're related.
yes,
in the
yes,
movie.
yes.
I have a little surprise for you.
What is it?
Just a little something.
So
Here, here.
I'm seeing this for after I haven't seen it for 20 odd years, so
Wow.
so forget scenes, but
There's a lot of
lots of
sweetness to
sweetness,
this movie.
yeah.
But again,
Yes,
I mean, what I always find really interesting is it's sweetness, but it's sort of wrapped up in this sort of very unconventional and sort of twisted thing of this romance between the two of them, and then
Yeah, what they're doing in the background, what they're
Yeah.
doing in the
Well, what for?
for the hell of it. All right.
Here's to my little sister Ida. For the hell of it.
but it's
Yeah,
again sinister, the sibling rivalry, the jealousy between them.
Yeah, we had a wonderful editor on this, Bernie Gribble, who I'd known in England, an English, and he was one of the youngest editors at Ealing Studios, and cut a lot of their comedies way back when. When he was 21, he was cutting his first movie because it was the war years, and the editors had, they were usually older, had gone off to fight and do whatever, and so he was promoted pretty quickly. But Bernie did a very nice job on this, and
Had you worked with him before? Or
no, I hadn't. But I knew him from England, and around about the 80s, quite a lot of English people came over because the 70s in England, industry was in bad shape. After the 60s and all that glory, the 70s was really bad news. So a lot of us came over, looking for work, basically.
and he was your pick.
Yes, yeah. He was a fine editor, did some wonderful movies. Mixed it at Fox Studios. They did a great job. Very famous mixer there.
You know, he's piecing together the clues.
Mm-hmm.
It should seem very obvious anyway.
Yes, yeah. Well, he's not the brightest. But,
Was there any trouble with the ratings board on this one?
do you know, I think there was, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. I think there was. I wonder what it was. Sorry, I can't remember. But I do vaguely remember there being something.
Was there ever an
but it-
intention, because there's not a lot of blood in this movie, and was there ever an intention of trying to maybe go for a PG at the time? Or they wanted an R?
They probably wanted an R, yeah.
Now this concept of is very interesting. Was the hypnosis machines and
yes,
everything.
yeah.
Was that described in detail in the script, or did you guys do
It
some
was
sort of...
it was described in the script, and I think the art department bought a basic motor type of spiral thing, and then we worked on to put lights in it and more sparkle or whatever. And but I think it was like a basic fan type thing that they got, and then played with it, and with the cameraman as well, putting these lights behind it.
It's really
and reflective stuff.
it's a really unique thing that really hasn't been duplicated. You know.
Yes, yeah.
I know, and sort of almost a humane way of...
About putting them down. Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
They had the music, and now they've got this very nice. Yeah. It's John.
I had a feeling you boys could get behind this.
I think I could probably have made a bit more of this than I did.
But
You
it
know, when
definitely-
you see it on
definitely
reflection,
stands
you think,
out.
"Oh, I should have done this. I should have done that," and yeah.
More mellow. Each word I say will take you farther and farther into a radical hypno-high. Heavier, smoother than any trip you've ever had.
See, he's actually very sophisticated.
Yes, yeah.
Right, you know, Farmer Vincent is. The rest of them are kind of, you know, idiots, but you know, he's very sharp. And
Yeah,
he
he
knows-
brought a great element to the character.
Yeah, Rory definitely is.
Yeah.
Did you
Very underrated.
did you guys discuss the character a lot, or was it really
Oh,
sort
yes,
of, or
yeah.
was it on the page?
No,
Right?
we
You know,
had- we
how
had-
did you?
We
know?
had dinners beforehand. When you talk about the I guess we must have had a table reading, but I always like to meet my actors and socially before we start. You know, have a dinner or coffee or something. You know, and get to know each other. Then you know, so you don't arrive on a set and you meet the actor for the second time and off you go. But this, you know, the film was still pretty quickly got underway and shot and delivered and so on. So, but no, we became very good friends, and we had many a dinner and at his house, and so you tend to get into it that way, which is rather than be kind of businesslike.
Right.
You know, it has to evolve, even for a horror film. You know.
Was there
And,
anything specific that he said that he definitely wanted to bring to the character that you remember?
Not that I remember, but he understood the totally got the approach, and that was this is.
Oh.
I thought this is.
Very nasty.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
very effective. Very nasty. Again, but
Yeah, it's just, and it's not very long, not much of it, and you don't really.
but it's those things, you know. It's the tractor going up and everything.
And
It's
then
the
the
suggestion
people
of these
coming
things, but
down.
which funny. But again, I found it to be like really like horrific as a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
It was like, oh man, and then the neck snapping. It's like, wow,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a horrible way to go. And it was obviously a really very effective moment because they used it on one of the original posters.
That's right. Yes.
Was of the tractor.
Yeah.
And the heads.
Yeah.
Full of lightning through their hearts.
Of course. Your spaceship awaits you, Captain.
No, he brought a lot to it, and they both, everybody did. They, but I encourage it, you know, to anything. This full of carrots.
Now, when they were pulled out, was that just people on the other end of the camera? Just
Probably. Yeah, we were all yes,
pulling them
probably
out.
pulling them out, and they were either hanging onto the rope. There wasn't
or,
stunt, wasn't
or
stunt.
harnessed or something.
Yes,
like
there
that.
wasn't stunt guys. It wasn't a very long shot. There.
Right. How convenient.
Lovely old tractor. Always worked, never broke down, never need. Back to the smokehouse. Trying to talk to each other.
Again, so it seems pretty silly now, but at the time,
was
when
really-
you're first viewing, it's like really kind of disturbing because of the sound and everything too, of course.
Oh, I have a lot of comments that, like yourself, I was 14 when my dad took me to see this and whatever, and I was scared for years to come.
Do you get a lot of fan interaction from this movie?
Not really. More from the guys camera people or editors I work with seem to be more. Maybe the fans don't know where I live, sort of thing. So. So I have it more from other technicians who are into this kind of genre movie. Let's say one of them, the clapper boy on a movie about 5 years ago, told me he studied Motel Hell at film school, which I thought was kind of weird, but anyway.
How does that kind of weird? But how does that make you feel?
Well, it's sort of flattering in one way, but
Yeah.
then because at the time you're making you're not consciously making a cult movie or whatever. You're making just the best you can do with the material and making a truly good little film. You're not. This is not to be studied in the future by generations of filmmakers,
But now it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, this it did smell a bit in this place, because this is the real thing hanging up, and those pigs' heads and stuff.
Those are all real.
They're real. Yeah. It was a bit pongy, to say the least. Over the top. That's right. But, yeah, we always had the sort of zombies in mind here when they all eventually get out.
Mm-hmm.
A really good location.
Very good.
Yeah, it was just everything was there. Something thing on her head.
Was the set pretty fun? I mean, obviously you're doing scenes like this. Was it? I mean, pretty jovial for.
Oh yes,
for the most part?
yeah. No, everybody enjoyed it, and I like to have a happy unit, and especially these kind of sequences are fun to do.
Sure.
They really are.
But they're incredibly twisted too.
Yeah.
So these are all real pigs hanging.
Yes, yeah, the sides of pork, yeah. These heads. Got the right weight, but they did a great art directing job here. Set decorating, and
what about
there's still the balloons from the kids' balloons in the back.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
And what about makeup effects? We haven't touched upon that yet. I don't recall who did the makeup effects.
No, they're very good. Whoever, I never worked with them again for whatever
Because
reason.
they made the fake bodies here. Those
yes.
are.
then go get something to eat, but make it snappy.
Okie dokie. I'll be right back.
Okie dokie.
And combined with the smoke, the pigs, and then a running chainsaw, and
Yes,
the
it was,
atmosphere
yeah.
must have been very
Yeah,
thick.
it was a pretty.
That's-
well, they were never running, the things.
But
They
you
know-
could,
they
you
didn't.
could see the teeth running on that.
Well, because when they had the fight, we put the rubber things in.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
you're
so
probably-
that was a rubber wood because like
You're
that's
probably
getting
right,
very
yes.
close
That-
to that guy's.
That was
neck.
probably you're right. Probably the right thing there. Yeah.
So is that ketchup or was that chocolate sauce she was putting on the chicken,
yes.
or barbecue sauce? I guess.
So what? You always do stuff hanging around here.
Great theme that he wrote. The piano,
Yeah.
simple.
I dug those out of the front
So
tire
now
of
we're
the motorcycle.
and nice, the nice sinister low lighting too.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, it's a good job here. Yeah.
That's not all.
Yeah.
Wait till you hear what I found in the marsh. Oh, only about 200 cars he ambushed and sunk in there. Come on, let's go.
When do you first recall that this movie was starting to get a cult status? How long? Was it a lot of years after it came out?
It was quite a few, a good 10 or 15 years, I think.
And was it
Then I
from
never-
someone on the crew that told you?
I can't remember. But when people first say, oh, it's a cult film, that usually means that it didn't make any money. and is like a handful of people like it, or create it as a cult. But so initially, I didn't take it as a compliment, but I do now because it's kept going. But at the time, you think, oh, well, they mean it didn't make any money. That's why it became a cult movie. It didn't make any big money, I think it probably did all right, but.
Well, now I'm sure it's well in the
Yeah,
the green in the books.
Yeah, I still get residuals.
And obviously, probably one of the most in this, my first encounter with the film was this stuff is great. I don't want to overshadow this, but was the Fangoria cover,
Right,
the Fangoria magazine cover.
Yeah. Good job here, Tom.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, that's a real thing he's banging
Okay.
banks into.
Explain everything to her so she can give us a hand. So that we can hack all this up.
But yeah, the Fangoria cover was really infamous at the time.
Was it?
It was early on in the magazine,
I think I've got it somewhere.
and
yeah.
they had to. It was too disturbing.
Oh, really?
They had to take it off the shelves, so it's become the rarest
Oh,
issue of the magazine.
really? I mean,
So, yeah, it's always been an infamous,
oh, I didn't know. I mean,
infamous cover for them.
I've got it somewhere because they send me. They're very good. They always send me stuff and do interviews for them now and then.
Get the hell out of here and get Bruce and bring him back here right now.
Okie dokie.
Okey-dokey.
I think Ida is definitely like, I mean, it seems like the first time that Primary Vincent really has found someone to love.
So,
And
yes,
I think
yes,
she's
yeah,
very
yeah.
conflicted and jealous, and
Oh yes. He's still in his bra outfit. Dick.
Now, were these those doors were? I mean, I know it was part of the set, but those were things that you built, because I don't remember ever seeing that like sort of line of like motel room
Oh yeah,
doors.
no, that was we didn't. Well, they dressed the outside, but no, that was the
Great jump scare.
yeah.
Great jump scare.
Yeah. In the theatre, it would have been very,
Yeah.
very effective. It's our girls. Yeah.
There.
Come on, my beauties. That's
I like the fact that she's like not worried about being outnumbered at all.
she's
you know?
she's in there. Yeah.
She's like, I'll take you all.
Yeah. I don't think we choreographed it. I mean, I think we just let them go at it. Yeah, and there's
you know, the one thing I've said
Yeah.
with Ida is that you know, I'm sure that Stephen King saw this movie,
Yeah.
and I think that, you know, the physical description, at least to me, I would be very surprised if it didn't inspire Misery.
It would be nice to think that.
You know,
Yeah.
and Annie Wilkes in a way.
Yeah, I'd love to do one of his novels, but
The preservatives.
When you consider the way the world is today, there's no question I'm doing a lot of
See, it's funny now, though. I mean, when you look at it, you go, "Oh wow, this is really socially relevant now." and I mean, I know, you know, reading into it, but still, what he's saying is like,
helping out.
just helping out.
you know,
Too many people in the world. Not enough food. Now, this takes care of both problems at the same time.
He really believes he's
yeah.
had a...
How could you do it?
What are you talking about? Hell, half the people in this county been eating human flesh that I have smoked for over 30 years and loving it. You yourself said that my ham was like nothing you'd ever tasted before.
He's just...
Wish I could have introduced you into my private world in my own way. But oh no. Little brother had to interfere, didn't he? He's a fool. And he's the biggest cannibal in the whole county. Where the hell is she? Probably
Yeah.
stuffing her face again.
It's funny. It's funny, but it's not funny.
Yeah.
You get these reports from fast food places and what they're putting in
Into
food
sausages
now,
these
instead of,
days,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and hamburgers and everything
Yeah.
else, and you're like, you know, maybe he does have the right idea.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's locked.
Was there ever a time where they were like amp up the horror even more? Was there ever any pressure to do that? You know, once you guys went through the script.
No, I think no. It was. I think it was enough. You know.
Uh-huh.
No, we never added any more than was in the script. You know, apart from once you get on the set, and
Sure.
then the ideas come a lot more because. There's a bit of James Bond here. Sort of
Yeah, I was
kind
gonna
of
say it
stuff,
reminds
and,
me. You know, it'd be, you know, the damsel either tied to the railroad
Tell the right-
tracks.
yes, it's all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah.
But I mean, it's taking the classical and just, you know, modernizing it and sprucing it up, which is, you know, that was a good stunt.
Yeah,
was this the stunt guy? That was
No, he wasn't the arranger, but
Okay.
he was a stunt guy.
and he was the one who did the bike stuff.
The
as
bike
well?
stuff, yes, yeah.
Was Rory still at this stage a real physical?
Yeah,
physical
yeah.
guy.
He was had everything. He was. I guess he was in his 60s, 70 something. I mean, no, he was.
I think it was like
there's-
57. I think
It was
around this
57,
time?
but yeah. There is a stunt guy in there. That, you know, when they really get to it,
Okay.
throwing each other around. But obviously, the wider angles usually the stunt guy. Nope, he's in the smokehouse.
That's a big one. I think what people are going to be really surprised too when they're taking a look at this is, the richness in the palette and the colors,
And yes.
along with the set design and all that, but just in the lighting as well.
Yeah, no, Tom did a lovely job. Great job.
He went on to shoot many other films, including
Yeah.
Stand By Me.
Yes, yeah. We never crossed. I haven't seen him since, or our paths haven't crossed. It's funny how that happens in the business.
Were there other people who did work on this film that you went on to work with again?
No, I'm trying to think. I don't think there were. Because I kind of went into, after that, I went to TV. I got sidetracked into television. Because unfortunately this didn't take off in a way to. I think I was approached to do another horror film, but I can't remember the name of it now, and it never came to fruition. And, it wasn't that good anyway. So
And now here is the iconic image of your movie, the thing that launched,
yeah, 1,000.
a bunch of fanboys, horror fanboys' dreams. Just as disturbing, if not more so, than Leatherface from Chainsaw for
No
People.
No music.
And why was the
see?
choice of that?
Because it's too obvious, you know. It's you can overdo it. It's let it do itself. I mean, there's Chainsaw as the music, if you like. You could have had a big chord and stuff, but we decided not to. Just let the soundtrack do it, you know, because usually it conflicts. It's very hard to balance sound effects and stuff.
And the first that I know of, Chainsaw Duel.
Yes,
on
yeah. Well,
screen.
we had to top Chainsaw Massacre somehow.
Had you looked at that one?
Yes, I did see it. I saw that in England, because it was quite phenomenal, quite all the rage.
And another
But
film that showed very little.
Yeah, but it was very scary. He did a phenomenal job. He's still a terrific horror director.
Do you remember one time I heard a rumor that at one point they had approached Tobe Hooper possibly about this film?
I had never heard that. Maybe they were just being polite. They didn't want to think that
Sure,
other
but
directors had been
right.
asked before me, which is probably often the case.
But I think at that time too, it was maybe with a different studio, a different company, way before
it could have been, yes.
before it was actually made.
Yeah, it could have been. But they never mentioned that, or. But I have heard that in the last few years.
Have people taught you? Funny, and another film that I think is wonderful is Chainsaw 2, which has a lot of similarities in some story elements to this.
Yes, yeah.
As far as the meats and
Yeah.
preservative stuff, and the chainsaw duel at the end of the film.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
But there are definitely, you know. So I think Tobe Hooper, you know, took a page from your book.
Good. Well, that's flattering. Because he's a master.
There's a little blood. I love the fact that he's laughing the whole time too.
Joy.
Now, was this a stunt guy doing this stuff for Rory?
Yes.
Now, could he see?
Yes.
Was he looking through the mouth?
We had to make sure that those masks, you know, they could see out and whatever. Because even with those things, even with a temp, they're probably,
there's still the chain run, not the chain, but the
motor.
Yeah.
It certainly gave a good. She's very well attractive.
I had to ask because there's now a Halloween costume of this character.
Wonderful. You were telling me, it's wonderful.
And I have it, and the mask is very hard to see through.
Oh.
You have to look through a very small area in the mouth. So I wondered, I was like...
There's not much...
there's some blood.
We got some blood and skull, but it's...
A little payoff there.
It is what it... It's not... It's not gratuitous. It's
pretty gross. It's pretty gross.
Yes. But it's...
And he's swashbuckling in. A little Errol Flynn there.
Little Errol Flynn, yes. Yeah.
I'm surprised. It's funny because again, in the horror world and everything, this is a beloved. The pig killer, Pervert Vince, is a beloved character now.
Yes.
I'm surprised they have not tried to make an action figure.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should do that. I wonder what the copyright. He's still going. He's still going.
He's still going. But again, this is another turn where
Lord.
your movie really stands out, because it's certainly not your typical ending.
No.
And this tour de force speech.
You can have the hotel and the garden. What garden? Secret garden.
Should we be tracking in?
Dirt road.
We'd like to see.
Yeah,
we are
slowly,
moving in
yeah.
slowly. Yes. Yeah.
My animals. You take care of my animals. Take care of this. Oh, my whole life. My whole life is in a lie. I'm the biggest hypocrite of them all. What do you mean? My needs. I used preservatives.
It's so absurd,
Yes.
but it's wonderful. That's what makes
Yeah.
this movie stand out.
And
That's
it's,
why.
it's in his one shot. I mean,
Yeah.
then just that one cutaway
Mhm.
to her. But I think it was take one as well, probably. You know, and not probably two for safety, but come out again. It's all one television. That would have been dozens of cuts and
Mm-hmm.
so effective. You just watch John Ford's staging of a shot. I mean,
All
you
you
don't.
need.
It's
If you have a
all
good
you-
one-er,
yeah, you don't
it
need
tells your
cutaways.
story.
Everything. Yeah.
Huh.
The Red Sox.
That's your Carrie moment. Yeah, in a way. You find a little. Was stuff like that in the script too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kicking
Yeah.
legs like that.
I'd have to read it.
Right.
I should have read it before.
I'm kind of glad I ran away from home when I was 11.
Yeah.
There's going to have to be some kind of investigation.
Why don't you just burn the place?
Burn it? You mean arson?
So,
That's what I do.
how do you feel now after
I
taking a
yeah.
look at this thing and knowing that it's got a legacy?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, this is high. It was 1,000 frames a second. This we shot to get that explosion. 1,000 frames. High-speed camera. Yeah. It's there's Austin Jewell. He was a boy in one of Chaplin's movies.
Mm-hmm.
He was a lovely guy. And First AD, Jack. And there's Brad May.
Director now.
Yeah, very, very good.
But yeah, what do you think of the lasting legacy?
Bernie
of
Pollack
the
is Pollack's brother,
Okay.
director. Don Bassman,
Sidney
yeah, Sidney
Pollack.
Fox, yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm still quite proud of it, you know. Nicely shot, nicely. The acting was good, and you know.
And now there's been several attempts for a while now of trying to do a remake.
To remake it, yes.
Reboot, or they even did a comic book. There was a comic book.
Oh, was there?
Like sort of continuation of the characters. There's been a lot of I just saw today. I was telling you they're making a collectible pillow of Farmer Vincent with the pig head and the chainsaw and everything.
Yeah.
So
that's wonderful.
So there's definitely it definitely is.
It's eating out my arm. So.
But I want to thank you so much for letting me be able to sit here and just sort of gush and fanboy out and ask my questions. I hope people found it enjoyable. And
well, I do too. It's difficult trying to remember incidents and things that happened. And it was 34 years ago, and it was the first movie I did here in America.